Lily sighed as she unlocked the front door of her sprawling Victorian home. Another long day of teaching high school English had left her drained. At 48, she sometimes wondered if she had the energy to keep up with teenagers anymore. As she stepped inside, the old house creaked a welcome. Lily had inherited it from her grandmother 5 years ago, and while the place needed work, she loved its character. To help with expenses, she had started renting out rooms to college students. "Hello, anyone home?" Lily called out. Silence greeted her. The 3 student tenants must all be out. Grateful for a moment of peace, Lily kicked off her sensible flats and padded to the kitchen. She was just pouring herself a glass of wine when she heard the front door open. Heavy footsteps in the entryway made her pause. That didn't sound like any of her petite female tenants. "Hello?" A deep male voice called out. Lily's brow furrowed. She wasn't expecting anyone. Cautiously, she peeked around the kitchen doorway. A tall young man stood in the foyer, a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He had tousled dark hair and striking blue eyes that met Lily's gaze. "Oh, hi there," he said with an easy smile. "I'm David. I'm supposed to be renting a room here?" Lily blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. I don't have any rooms available at the moment." The young man's face fell. "Oh, no, really? I spoke to someone named Sarah on the phone last week. She said a room would be ready for me today." Realization dawned on Lily. Sarah was one of her tenants who helped manage room rentals when Lily was busy with work. She must have forgotten to tell Lily about this new tenant. "I'm so sorry about the mix-up," Lily said. "Sarah helps me sometimes with rentals. She must have forgotten to let me know. I'm Lily, by the way. I own the house." "Nice to meet you, Lily," David replied, extending his hand. As Lily shook it, she couldn't help but notice how warm and strong his grip was. "Well, I do have one room that just opened up," Lily said. "It's not quite ready yet, but you're welcome to take a look if you'd like." "That would be great, thanks," David said gratefully. Lily led him up the creaky stairs to the second floor. As they walked, she found herself very aware of his presence behind her. At the end of the hall, she opened the door to a cozy bedroom. "It's not much, but it has its charms," Lily said as David looked around. "It's perfect," he said with a grin. "I love old houses like this. So much character." Lily felt a little flutter in her chest at his boyish enthusiasm. She cleared her throat. "Well, if you'd like to take it, we can get the paperwork sorted out downstairs." "Sounds great," David agreed. Back in the kitchen, Lily pulled out the rental agreement forms while David told her a bit about himself. He was 28 and starting grad school at the local university. He'd been working as a bartender to save up money, but was excited to focus on his studies now. As David spoke animatedly about his plans, Lily found herself captivated. There was something magnetic about his energy and passion. She had to remind herself that he was her tenant now, and 14 years her junior. Still, as she showed David to his room later that evening, Lily couldn't deny the little spark of excitement she felt. It had been a long time since a man had caught her interest like this. Even if nothing could ever happen between them, maybe his presence would add some life to her quiet routine. Over the next few weeks, Lily found herself looking forward to David's comings and goings. He was unfailingly polite, always greeting her with a warm smile that made her pulse quicken. Sometimes in the evenings, she would hear him playing guitar softly in his room. The gentle melodies drifting through the house soothed her after long days of work. One Saturday morning, Lily was attempting some basic repairs on a leaky faucet when she heard a knock at the bathroom door. "Everything okay in there?" David's voice called out. "I heard some banging." Lily sighed in frustration. "Just trying to fix this darn faucet. Not having much luck, though." The door creaked open, and David poked his head in. "Mind if I take a look? I used to do some plumbing work during summers in college." "Be my guest," Lily said, stepping back from the sink. David rolled up his sleeves, revealing toned forearms as he bent to examine the pipes. Lily found herself admiring the way his t-shirt stretched across his broad shoulders. She quickly averted her eyes when he glanced up at her. "Ah, I see the problem," David said. "Just need to tighten this connection here." With a few deft twists of his wrench, the leak was fixed. David straightened up with a satisfied grin. "There we go, good as new," he declared. "My hero," Lily said with a laugh. "I don't suppose you know anything about electrical work too? The wiring in this old place is a nightmare." David's eyes lit up. "As a matter of fact, I rewired my parents' entire house last summer. I'd be happy to take a look if you'd like." And so began a series of weekend projects around the house. David threw himself into the work with enthusiasm, clearly enjoying the chance to use his hands. Lily found any excuse she could to work alongside him, relishing their easy banter and the way his presence seemed to energize the whole house. As the weeks passed, Lily realized she was developing real feelings for David. She tried to push them aside, reminding herself of their age difference and her position as his landlord. But she couldn't deny the way her heart raced when he smiled at her, or how she lingered a little too long when their hands brushed as they worked. For his part, David seemed oblivious to the effect he had on her. He treated Lily with warm friendliness, but maintained a respectful distance. Still, sometimes Lily caught him looking at her with an intensity that made her wonder if perhaps she wasn't alone in her attraction. One evening, Lily was grading papers in the living room when she heard David come in from a late class. To her surprise, he appeared in the doorway looking dejected. "Everything okay?" Lily asked with concern. David sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "Not really. I just found out I didn't get the research grant I applied for. Without it, I don't know how I'm going to afford to stay in school next semester." "Oh, David, I'm so sorry," Lily said. She patted the couch next to her. "Come sit. Tell me about it." David sank down beside her, close enough that Lily could feel the warmth radiating from his body. As he poured out his worries and frustrations, Lily listened attentively. Without thinking, she reached out and took his hand, giving it a comforting squeeze. David's words trailed off as he looked down at their joined hands. Lily realized what she had done and started to pull away, but David tightened his grip. "Lily," he said softly. His intense blue gaze met hers. "I hope I'm not misreading things here, but I can't stop thinking about you." Lily's breath caught in her throat. "David, we can't. I'm your landlord, and I'm so much older than you." "I don't care about any of that," David insisted. He brought his free hand up to cup her cheek. "All I know is that you're the most amazing woman I've ever met. Smart, kind, beautiful. I'm falling for you, Lily." Before she could respond, David leaned in and pressed his lips to hers. Lily knew she should push him away, but instead she found herself melting into the kiss. All the tension and longing of the past weeks poured out as she wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, reality came crashing back. Lily jumped up from the couch. "We shouldn't have done that," she said, pacing nervously. "It's not right. You're my tenant, and I'm old enough to be your—" "Don't say it," David cut her off. He stood and grasped her shoulders gently. "Lily, please. Age is just a number. What matters is how we feel about each other, and I know I've never felt this way about anyone before." Lily's resolve wavered as she looked into his earnest face. "I'd be lying if I said I didn't have feelings for you too," she admitted. "But there are so many complications. What would people think?" "Who cares what anyone else thinks?" David said. "All that matters is us. Give this a chance, Lily. Give us a chance." His words broke down the last of her resistance. With a soft cry, Lily threw her arms around David and kissed him passionately. He responded eagerly, lifting her off her feet as their lips moved together. That night marked the beginning of a secret relationship between Lily and David. They agreed to keep things quiet, not wanting to upset the other tenants or invite gossip. But behind closed doors, their connection deepened with each passing day. Lily marveled at how David made her feel young and vibrant again. His zest for life was infectious, and she found herself trying new things and rediscovering old passions. For his part, David was in awe of Lily's wisdom and grace. He loved engaging in deep conversations with her about literature, philosophy, and life. As wonderful as things were, Lily still harbored doubts. She worried about the future. Would David eventually want someone younger? And she felt guilty about the secretive nature of their relationship. Her fears came to a head one afternoon when she ran into a colleague while out to lunch with David. The other teacher gave Lily a scandalized look when she introduced David as her friend. Lily spent the rest of the meal in awkward silence, hyper-aware of the curious stares from nearby diners. That evening, she broke down crying as she told David about the encounter. "Maybe this was a mistake," she said between sobs. "People will never understand. They'll think I'm some kind of creep taking advantage of you." David gathered her in his arms, stroking her hair soothingly. "Lily, my love, listen to me. What we have is real and beautiful. Anyone who can't see that isn't worth worrying about. I don't care what people think. I only care about you." His steadfast devotion touched Lily deeply. She realized that her own insecurities were the biggest obstacle to their happiness. In that moment, she made a decision to fully embrace their love. Judgment of others be damned. From then on, Lily and David were open about their relationship. There were certainly raised eyebrows and whispers from some, but to their surprise, most people were supportive once they saw how happy the couple was together. As the months passed, their bond only grew stronger. David's passion and optimism balanced out Lily's occasional tendency towards melancholy, and Lily's maturity and insight helped ground David when he got caught up in youthful impetuousness. They faced challenges, of course. David's graduate studies were demanding, leaving little free time, and Lily sometimes felt self-conscious about keeping up with his energy. But they always made time to connect, even if just for a quiet evening curled up together reading. Before they knew it, 2 years had passed. David was nearing the completion of his degree, and big changes were on the horizon. One spring evening, he asked Lily to take a walk with him in the garden behind the house. As the setting sun painted the sky in brilliant hues, David turned to Lily with a nervous smile. "Lily, these past 2 years with you have been the happiest of my life. You've shown me what true partnership and love really mean." Lily's heart began to race as David dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. "I know we've faced doubts and challenges, but I've never been more certain of anything than I am of my love for you. Lily, will you marry me?" Tears of joy sprang to Lily's eyes as she gazed down at the man who had brought such light to her world. "Yes," she whispered. "1,000 times yes." As David slipped the ring on her finger and pulled her into a passionate kiss, Lily marveled at the unexpected turns life could take. She had thought her chance at this kind of love had passed her by. But here she was, beginning an exciting new chapter with a man who adored her completely. There would be more obstacles ahead, she knew. But as long as she had David by her side, Lily felt ready to face whatever came their way. Their love story may not have been conventional, but it was theirs, and that made it perfect. In the years that followed, Lily and David built a beautiful life together. They traveled the world, started a family, and continued to challenge and support each other every day. And on quiet evenings, they would often reminisce about those early days in the old Victorian house where their unlikely romance began. Lily would smile as she remembered her initial hesitation and fears. How foolish they seemed now, in light of the deep and abiding love she and David shared. She had taken a chance on an unexpected connection, and it had led her to more happiness than she ever thought possible. As she looked at her husband, his hair now streaked with distinguished silver, Lily's heart still skipped a beat. The passion and tenderness between them had only grown stronger with time. David caught her gaze and smiled that boyish grin that still made her weak in the knees. "Penny for your thoughts, my love?" he asked. Lily leaned in to kiss him softly. "Just thinking about how grateful I am that you came into my life and swept me off my feet all those years ago." David pulled her close, nuzzling her neck. "Best decision I ever made was renting that room," he murmured. "Who knew I'd find the love of my life?" As they held each other, basking in the warmth of their enduring romance, Lily silently thanked whatever twist of fate had brought David to her door that day. Their love story may have been unconventional, but it was more beautiful and fulfilling than anything she could have imagined. In quiet moments like this, wrapped in David's strong embrace, Lily knew with absolute certainty that she had found her true soulmate and partner for life. Age difference and societal expectations meant nothing in the face of their deep connection and unwavering commitment to each other. And so, as the sun set on another day of their shared life, Lily and David looked to the future with joy and anticipation. Whatever adventures lay ahead, they would face them together, two hearts beating as one, bound by a love that had only grown stronger with each passing year.